Hey, I am Crumb Chocolate, and I'm here with my show bros, Tarek, Sharpie Charlie, and Tom Bomb. What's up there, friend? How's it going?
It's been a day, but we gonna make it be a nice evening. How about that?
We here. We here. Sharpie, you're muted, my guy.
Sorry, I said we got mixed company tonight, so we got to behave. Everybody, keep it at like a 7. Don't go to the 10. This is not the lit stream. We got
What?
Big J journalists in the building, so we got to respect that. Okay.
Fine.
I don't
Hey man,
know.
y'all
You
don't have to
insist.
turn it down for me. You don't have to turn it
Like I
down.
don't know. I was like I know a couple of journalists, and they always on 10. So
You definitely don't have to turn it down for me, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, let's just get the niceties out of the way. Admin things. YouTube, please like the video. It doesn't matter if you're watching live or the replay. Hit that button. If you're not familiar with us, subscribe to our channel. Most dope content coming from us or any of our shows in the network daily. If you are listening on a podcast app, please rate and review 5 stars or what's the point? And to all you lovelies who are watching on Twitter, like the stream, retweet, quote tweet, bring all the people here. Let's just build a nice little community for this chat. Tonight's guest is joining us for the first time, Shady Gang. So show them all some love. Many ways you can know him, possibly his tweets, Davidson Soccer stand up. He's worked for Fox Sports digital team. You could have seen him in social media clips for Copa 90. There's his time with Bleacher Report covering the 2019 Women's World Cup. And now, I mean, you've probably seen him rocking 3 chains lately on television, CBS Sports, Liga Zone, Galazzo, the channel, just all the things he's doing right now. Shady Gang, stand up for Aaron West. How's it going?
Appreciate y'all having me. Appreciate you having me, man. For real, for real. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's start off with something nice and easy. How did you fall in love with the sport of soccer?
Yeah, man. I will give you the medium to long story. So I grew up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, obviously basketball country, Tar Heel country. My dad was the first Black head coach in the ACC at UNC in track and field, but neither of my parents knew anything about soccer until my mom's best friend, may she rest in peace, introduced it to us when I was 3. Um, I fell in love from like the first time I saw a highlight tape, the first time I saw people kicking the ball. It was like love at first sight. I always loved basketball, always loved American football. Like I was just an all-around sports kid. I loved playing sports in general, but soccer was like, oh man, this is it. Um, as I was growing up, my mom's friend they had a lot of highlight tapes, and they had a lot of Ajax tapes, and I fell in love with Ajax because I saw young Black dudes that looked like me. I saw the locks, I saw the swag. They won champions. It was the highlight, the Champions League year '96. So I got that. I saw that in '97. I think I was like, what was I, 11 years old, and like I was like, this is it, like the red and white of Ajax, the Black dudes, the way that their swag was, the Dutch orange, everything about it. I was like, oh my god, this is what football is all about, and I was just hooked. um and I just never lost it. We didn't have cable growing up, so the way that I stayed connected to soccer mainly was reading everything I could get my hands on. I would go to Barnes and Noble and get Barnes and Nobles and get the 442, get the soccer Bible, anything I could get my hands on, and I would read. So that's kind of just reading was my passion growing up. Just I would play sports and I would read. Uh, so that led me into just really, really appreciating writing, and just that eventually led me down the path of being a writer. But yeah, I would say that was the big introduction. It was Ajax that really, really got me. And then from there it was the French national team, Arsenal. Um, that's why I'm rocking this. It's the Black fellas. They're the ones that got me.
One of
So
y'all.
I'll go ahead and
Oh,
go next. So go ahead, sir. You got it, man. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, I think that's very similar to all of our stories. You know, I can say for me, watching Man City, like you said, I fell in love because I saw myself represented out there. Yes, I like the colors because you know I was living in North Carolina not too, or probably around the same time you were. So I like that Carolina blue. Well, what I would have called it Carolina blue, but that sky blue that City
It is
wear.
Carolina
But
blue.
then seeing, but then seeing, but then seeing Yaya Toure and Vincent Company and those cats, yeah, that was what was like. Okay, not only do I like the colors and whatever else, but now I see these people that could be my brothers, could be my homies that you know are doing their thing. So I think that's a story that you know I was getting ready to type into the comment section on YouTube, but you know representation does matter, and I think it's important. Go ahead, Charlie.
100%.
So loving the game, like here's the question for you. What is the most overrated and underrated thing about soccer?
The most overrated thing I think is that it's also the most underrated thing almost. It's like it's always on. So it's because there's so much football, it can feel like, oh my God, there's too much. It's an overload. Like every day you turn the TV on, it's a different game. But it's a beautiful thing that if you love this sport, you're gonna be able to get your fix. I think the most underrated thing is the the way that it can connect you with people around the world. I don't know if that's really that underrated, but like that is the biggest thread I've seen is that I most of the time if I speak to someone from another country, I can relate to them through soccer. And even if I can't, if they're not into sports, I probably know something about where they're from via soccer. This sport has taught me so much about geography, about culture, about the world's landscape. It is actually ridiculous. I care about history because of football. I care about uh, specifically geography because of football, and I know about geography because of this game. So it's really a wild tie that just like is binds everything.
Now, to that point, like it makes me think about how in America, like if you can do the same thing with college football, right? Like I may not have visited a place, but if I know where you're from, I watched that team, I can like connect. And so soccer just broadens it out to the whole world, which definitely makes it the beautiful game.
100%.
I just wanted to show some love to Shea Butter FC.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all tapping in. I keep seeing them calling you the youth pastor or something like that. So
The youth pastor drip. Which is funny because my parents are pastors, so it's all full circle.
Oh, so he's a PK. Okay, he's a PK.
I'm
Okay,
a
gotcha, gotcha.
PK. I used to play drums in church every single Sunday. So it's
Oh
not
wow.
Okay.
that this is one of the most accurate statements they could have made.
So basically, what you're saying is that picture that the homie Georgosaurus took of you is going to be your album cover for your.
You already know it's gonna be titled like with hands upheld or something like that. For him, we do it
Air
all. Like
West, holy hands, holy hands. Here we go. This isn't on a rundown, but like, what is it like? Because I want to switch to like, this is totally random. NWSL, right? For those that don't know, your wife, works for Gotham FC. Like, how has that been over the past few years to see like when it started, when she, first got hired to like the heights they've reached in the past few years?
I mean, man, it's honestly been crazy because I've been a women's soccer fan like my whole life. I'm from UNC. I'm from Chapel Hill. UNC is the home of women's soccer to me. So I grew up just like wildly passionate about women's soccer from jump. So following I trained with a lot of those players. I used to play pickup with all the UNC women's players. So I've known a lot of them. That's how I met my wife. I've known a lot of the national team players and seen the struggle that they've had throughout the different domestic leagues, and now to finally have NWSL, which is solvent, is firm, like it's not going anywhere, which is the crazy thing to say. It's like, oh, we don't have to worry about this league being here next year. Now it's just growing and stacking on stacking on. So it's been cool to watch it go from will we have a league next year? To, oh my God, look at where this thing is going now. And it's such a cool thing to see, just mainly because of where it's come, and where it has to go is the ceiling is, you can't even see it. I think people don't realize much of how much potential women's football has worldwide, but especially in this country, I think. Uh, but it's been incredible to see the growth overall. Just yeah, we've come a long, long, long way.
It's funny. Your wife was actually one of my favorite players when she played here in Kansas City for FCKC.
So,
Um, so like I thought she was just the greatest defender, and so like just to watch her be able to like parlay her experience in the league to like being a GM in the league, I think that's just been completely like totally awesome. And I think my first exposure to you was actually a Black History piece that you did. It was a brunch that you did with, I believe it was Josie Altador and Lynn Williams. So like when she got traded from Kansas City Current to Gotham, and then like was that kind of like a full circle moment for you? Because like that interview to me kind of like was like, oh, Lynn Williams, let me check this player out. And then like, because I think at the time like they were still the Western New York Flash, or when
yeah.
you did that interview. So like, kind of to see her growth, like was that kind of, and like come to the club that your wife is the general manager of, was that kind of like a full circle moment for you?
It is. It's cool. I feel like pretty personal ties to a lot of the national team, a lot of these Black players, a lot of these players just in general, because I've followed their careers and I've known them for so long. Lynn is one. Her story is really, really cool. She's also just such a great person. It's cool to see her have success wherever she goes. But yeah, it's wild to have gone to like a lot of these players were my wife's teammates years ago, just recently, and now she's their GM. It's wild to like see the movement in the league. It's really, really cool to have seen a lot of these journeys, and everyone who's in the league, I've seen the start of their career, which is crazy.
So are you going to be here in November?
I don't think so. I don't have plans to travel at the moment, but things could always change. You never know.
Okay. Well, let's move it to the next question. In terms of watchability, how would you rank the top 5 leagues of football?
Yeah. I think the Premier League is pretty easily number one. Just the way that the presentation of it is massively. NBC does an incredible job. The pitches are there's so many factors that go into it. The size of the stadiums, the fullness of the stadiums, the loudness of the crowd, the camera angles, the way that the English stadiums are right on the pitch. It's massive and helps everything. I think the Premier League did one of the smartest things I've ever seen in sports decades ago, when they didn't label the Premier League the best league in soccer. They said the most exciting league. That was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen, because you don't have to say you're the best football. You just say, we're going to make you watch. And that is what the Premier League does. They will make you watch. There's always something going on. For me, probably pretty close tie, but second is I grew up loving Serie A. It's part of the reason I've gotten to work with Serie A, is because I always had a passion for it and a knowledge. That was part of my football education. When I was 12, I was like, I'm gonna pick a team to watch, and it was Juve, because I saw them beat Ajax in Champions League, and I was like, all right, I need to pick. I want to pick a team in like a bigger domestic league that is gonna be my team for life. And Thierry Henry was there at the time, and that was when he transferred. That's what. But I was like, I need another team. All right, Arsenal's my team. Edgar Davids, Lilian Thuram, Patrick Vieira, like those were my guys. That's what led me to Juve. So I have a massive passion for Serie A. Pretty close. I love to watch Bundesliga. I think it's pretty similar in the physicality, the pace of the Premier League, the quality, I don't think is quite as high. And the fact that it has been so one-sided in the past has kind of led me away from loving Bundesliga as much. But now there's more competition. It's a lot more fun to watch, in my opinion. And then I said Premier League, Serie A, Liga. It's Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga for me next. I grew up loving La Liga. I've been to a good number of Spanish games. I love the technicality of the league. So for me, I wish it wasn't as one-sided, and I wish there was more money and that they had more foresight to keep more money in the league rather than just pumping money to Barcelona and Real Madrid and the rest of the league suffering. But that's a story for another day. But there's a lot of incredible stories in La Liga. There's a lot of really, really, really like fire players in La Liga. So that's one I always like to watch. And then Liga. It's tough for me because I really like French football. It's tough to see where the league is now. I think their rights sold for like 20 million, maybe. Even if they got that much, it went from Uber Eats to McDonald's. Like the fall off is crazy. But like in terms of, I always tell people, like, if you want to see where the future stars are, just go watch Liga. Like you will see a name in every single game probably that is going to be in one of the other top 4 leagues in the next 2-3 years. The talent ID in Liga is amazing. The physicality is a lot of fun to watch. So at times it gets too much. It's like, bro, can y'all pass the ball instead of just trying to 2-foot each other, please? But yeah, I would say that's my ranking.
I love that.
Do you think that?
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Do you think so? You said that one of the smartest things that the Premier League did decades ago was like market themselves as the most exciting league in the world. Do you think that any of those other 4 leagues in the top 5 like have a shout for that as most
now?
exciting? Yes, now.
Now, I don't think so. No, I think there's the combination of the money that's in Premier League, which brings the quality of players that they're able to buy, and then just the cultural uh, way that the Premier League game is played, the fast pace, the desire and necessity for players to get into tackles and to actually be physical, and to compete, I think, and the way that the crowds are, I think all those things together is what really, really makes it. And I don't think Premier League is being dislodged because there's just too much money. So I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think that cultural aspect stays and keeps it exciting.
Hmm.
Can I zoom in on La Liga real quick?
Please.
So, Aaron, one of the first things that I remember you doing was those clips of like, the top La Liga goals. And like, I thought it was so dope because, again, Real, Barca, Atletico. And so just to hear the other names of the things, like, what was that experience like working with them and like, I guess, diving even deeper into the league than the normal top 4 or 5 clubs?
Yeah, it was dope. In our conversations before we even launched La Liga Zone, that was their goal, was to kind of focus the other clubs that most people don't know about. And I signed on right after Messi left. So it's like, we need eyeballs. What are we gonna do? But for me, always that has been what is so exciting about La Liga. Like obviously Real Madrid and Barcelona have always and will forever be exciting. They will always be incredible clubs, but I grew up loving to watch Valencia, like Villarreal, Deportivo. Like there's so much just technical ability throughout the league that it's never a bad watch because you're gonna see something beautiful at least. So that it was cool to be able to kind of go and highlight the players and the teams that I already had a pretty long history of watching and knowing about. And just kind of getting to hone in on some of those lesser told stories.
Love it. Okay. Let's zone in on the Premier League then. Is this the year for Arsenal? And if so, why? Or if not, why?
I think if it's gonna be a year, is probably this one. I think everything kind of points to it being possible, but also, I mean, I've been an Arsenal fan since 1999, so I am a deep pessimist, even though as a human, I'm an optimist. I've seen this too many times, so I think it could happen this year. Bukayo said it. I like his confidence. I think it's very difficult. I think near impossible to hate Bukayo if you're a rival fan. He's like the one guy that everybody just loves. Um, but I really like the step he's made as a player, as a person, as a leader. I think the team is in a position finally to make that step. It just they have to go out and do it. This is a at this point, like you're dealing with Pep Guardiola and a team full of players that have done this before. So it's this is sports. Like having done it before really matters. So I think that they can do it. I think that it's I would say probably 51% in 49. I don't even know. I think Liverpool I think we're maybe looking past Liverpool a little bit too much. When I say we, I see as a general public. I'm not saying y'all are specifically, but I think as a whole, everyone's kind of making it City and Arsenal. But I think Liverpool will have a say about it. But I do think there's a distinct possibility this could be the year. But again, man, I'm a pessimist. So if you had to press me on it, I would say no.
It's funny you bring up Liverpool because on our pod we do a segment called Shock, Awes, and Applause, and like about football, mainly Premier League. And I was like, yo, Liverpool's only conceded 2 goals in 7 matches. That is ridiculous. Like even Arsenal, who has the best defense last year, has conceded 7 or whatever. Like that's impressive. And like you said, they're going under the radar. But if you didn't know that they had a new manager, you were just like, oh, this is top team in the Premier League. I want to talk about your manager, Mikel Arteta. Did you ever foresee him, in my opinion, leaning more towards of like Jose Mourinho, like versus being more of like a Pep Guardiola disciple? Because I think his Jose swag is like there. Like y'all get gritty, y'all dig in 4-4-2 if we need to. Like, did you see this coming?
I can't say I necessarily saw this specific iteration coming, but I'm not surprised if that makes sense because of his footballing background. Mikel kind of went like a atypical route for a Spanish player. Like he went and played in Scotland. He's played for Everton under David Moyes. He played at PSG, which is a very physical league. I think that from those experiences and having worked with Pep, like he's very much his own man. I think he took a lot from Pep, a whole lot from Pep, but I think he's taken something from everywhere he's been, and especially that like aspect of physicality and refusing to be walked over, which has been a hallmark of Arsenal in the past. Like I think he's like, no, this team is going to be the nasty team. Like we're not going to get pushed over anymore. I think he got that from Rangers. I think he got that from David Moyes at Everton. So I think he's a composite, an amalgam of a bunch of different guys. And you want to ask the question, the Courtney Stiff question? You want to address
I mean, I was just gonna put it out there because
You at least waited for Sharpie.
I can tell you. I can tell you.
No,
story
let's jump right
of
to it.
why-
I'm intrigued.
why.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so I had a Dunkin' one day in the studio. I had a Dunkin' Coolada, which is like one of their smoothies, whatever it is, but it was straight up white. Like it looked like I was drinking. It looked like I was drinking just a glass of milk, like a cup of milk, straight up. And like I realized it was gonna be a problem, like because I had it on the floor beside me when we were doing a meeting, and like 2 or 3 people walked by. They're like, "My boy, are you just drinking milk?" I was like, "It's a Coolada. Like I can show you the slush. Like look at it. I can show you the receipt. It says Coolada right there, vanilla." Courtney Stith walked in. I think she might have taken a picture of it and also tweeted it. So it's just on the internet that I drink straight up glasses of milk, which is not the worst rumor to have about you, but also it has now been cleared up.
I don't think it's the drinking milk that's the problem. It's drinking milk from Dunkin'. That's part where
Here's the thing, though. It doesn't matter where it's from. If you're just rocking with a 16-ounce cup of milk, something's going on. Something's wrong. Something needs to be
Very
addressed.
sicko behavior. That's the problem. That's the first sign of like, we got to go watch this man. Put him on somebody's list.
That's why I rock with Courtney, because she was like, "Hey, are you good? Do you need to talk about anything? Is everything okay at home?"
Just a cry for help. We are here for
Right.
you.
Like, my dude, are you good? I know you got 2 kids, but
can we switch gears a little bit and talk about the other Arsenal manager? Because on the 12 yesterday. We recorded, and I don't think I've ever seen a crash out like I saw the homie Treb have about Jonas Eidevall ever. So where do you stand on Jonas as a manager? Because I read that TSN interview about, or article about Chloe Lacasse, and that was a really damning indictment on him. And like, just like as City fans, like hearing the stuff that Viv has to say about her experience, like it reminds me a lot of interviews that former City women players did, like when our entire midfield left, and they basically talked about Gareth Taylor without talking about it.
The proof is very clearly in the pudding. Like when multiples start to talk like that, when you see the results. And I've been checked out of this women's team. Like, I love women's football. I've been checked out because if you look at the team, there's nobody that looks like my daughter in that team. There's nobody that looks close to me in that team. So I'm just like, what am I supposed to feel when I look at this milk white lineup? So I check the results. I keep it pushing. I would love for Jonas to be gone. I would love for us to have some players that represent the city of London and where this club is, and everything else that is about Arsenal. I would love them to represent that. So that is my stance. I'm not rocking with them right now, and I'm definitely not rocking with Jonas.
It's wild. They're literally the polar opposite of the men's.
Bro, it's crazy. It doesn't make
like that's
any
so
kind of
crazy.
sense.
It's all the milk. It's like oat milk, almond milk, whole milk, 1%. You got it. You got it all.
No,
Whatever you want.
like, what? How much more milk do you need? Like, I look like my cup. Like, bro, like.
Let's get some coffee in here, guys. We get some creamer, like something. We need something.
Something. Hazelnut. Anything.
Crumb, that's right up your alley. You know it. Come on now. You were ready. That's right up your alley, bro.
I mean, you know it. But I'm trying to play nice. I'm actually enjoying all of you guys. Y'all are doing a fantastic job. So I'm just enjoying being here. Honestly, this has been fantastic. But I want to pivot back. Oh God.
Yeah. So when was the last time that you pinged a ball 60 yards, Mr. West?
Did you actually do that?
Actually, a few weeks ago, when I was that is one of those that'll just go down in internet history as like, why was that the hill you decided to die on? Like, why was that specific hill you wanted to die on? It was like so adamant and unnecessary. So, like, why? Why? Why?
I mean, it entertained me thoroughly, because I just was like on my on my phone.
It was one of those things where, like, with every response that I saw, I was like, I looked at my phone. You know, like Future meme when he's outside the plane, he's like, I'm like, why is she saying these things to me? And I like look back, and I spent way too much time and energy on it. I went back to see if we had like any beef in prior conversations. I was like, did I piss her off for some reason? I was like, what have I done to this woman? I was like, literally, like, why? Like, I played Division One. If my whole body wasn't broken, I might have played at a higher level. But
That's real.
The big things, the one thing you can never say about me was that I couldn't strike a ball.
The disrespect. The disrespect. The audacity.
That was the audacity. Harry Potter and the audacity of this lady. Oh man, it was wild.
Oh man. Okay. I am interested in this question just because we've spoken politely of Liverpool, and naturally we're City fans, and Arsenal. Who, I guess, is the fourth team in the Premier League? Who do you think that is?
It's got to be Chelsea. I think they're really the only really relevant team. Spurs you can just see it in every weekend. Ange Postecoglou is just like, damn, I can't coach the DNA out of this club. It's crazy.
They are who we thought they were.
They are who we thought they were. It's got to be Chelsea. Even like the fact that they're able to come through this much dysfunction and still be challenging is ridiculous. They got a ton of talent. They're too well placed, I think, to not just consistently be in and around the running. It's got to be Chelsea.
No love for Villa. You think is it because they're in Champions League this year, or do you think that they don't have the guys to keep up with the pure talent?
I don't think that they have the depth. I think their first 11, maybe their first 13, is very good. I think that Unai Emery probably got way too much disrespect from Arsenal supporters. I think that he was the wrong man for the job, the wrong time for the job. Just everything was wrong for him at Arsenal, him at that time at Arsenal. But Unai Emery is a fantastic manager. Aston Villa is a great club. It's a big club with a lot of history in a big city. And I think that they will down the line continue to be like challenging for Europe, but I don't see them being like real challengers in the long run. I don't think they quite have the depth. Also, the fact that John Duran, every single time he scores a goal, is like, hey, yo, who want me? It's hilarious.
I love it. It's like a billboard. Like, please come get me.
Right? Like,
60 at him, they can't say no.
Against Bayern, like, you like what you see?
That man will probably end up at Chelsea, to be honest. He could end up at Chelsea or Arsenal.
They were after him. They were
splash.
trying.
He definitely has the look of a Chelsea player for sure.
The fact that he was a Chicago Fire and like
that's crazy.
Now, yes, exactly.
Shout
like
out to MLS Talent ID, baby.
The come up is real. Can I swing a question, Crump? Can I throw a question out there?
Please.
So we just said MLS talent, thinking of American players. We obviously know Poch is here now. This is not on the outline, but like, do you foresee Poch really revolutionizing the men's side to be, I won't say like World Cup 20, like final 16. Do you think he can get us to a quarterfinal match? He's got time, but like, you think it's possible?
Yes. I think that's possible. Yes, I think that we have enough quality in the team. We're at the place where talent-wise, I think we're the best, the most talent we've ever had in this team. And I think that he will help bring the mentality that is needed to raise the level of play to where the talent is. I think that like there's no coincidence. You see a lot of former men's national team players talking about like, yeah, we know these guys have the quality, but like they don't play in the shirt. They don't play for the shirt the same way that we did. You don't see that fight. You don't see that real desire. I think that for too long, it was kind of like a boys club when they get to the national team. They're like, oh, my guy's here. Like, we're chilling. We're all killing it on the club front. Let's get together, have a little party. Maybe we'll play some national team football. That's harsh, but I think that was a little bit too much of the vibe. I think that Poch fully understands what it's going to take to get them competing. Like, they put a clip out today. They were like always competing. Just little things like that where every single thing you do in training matters. There's no like we're coming in to vibe and have a good time. No, every single thing you do, every single thing. I want them to be on edge. I want them to feel like your place might be in jeopardy. I think that his having worked with some of the biggest players in clubs in the world, that having that cachet will bring the respect needed for him to demand anything he wants from these guys. And I think that level will raise. I'm not saying they're going to go out and be world beaters, but I think that he will get a little bit. And I also think he's a better tactical manager than Pearls, just in general. So I think that the team will be better set up. I'm interested to see how adaptable they will be because, I mean, international football is difficult to get your ideas across. But I think that this is a level raiser.
And like, wait, Tom, go ahead.
I want to stay on Poch because the last time we had a guest on, they were also an Arsenal supporter, and I asked this, and because you mentioned it when you talked about Ange, was like, I can't coach the DNA out of this club. Like
he almost did it. He was so close.
So are you concerned that he has that Spurs stank on him? Like,
no. Listen, I will probably like Ange after he leaves too. I liked him. I liked him the first few months at Spurs. I'm an Ange. I like Ange. I think it's sad to see how Spurs is crushing that man's soul. But I firmly believe that Poch is not a Spurs guy in his soul. I think that he has like a winner's DNA. He has that belief, that desire. That I think that's why eventually all those guys have to leave Spurs, because it's Daniel Levy. And I know plenty of Spurs fans. They want to win, but Daniel Levy does not care as long as he's cashing them checks. And he has a nice shiny team in London. He's good. He's good.
So did you just call Daniel Levy the Jerry Jones of world football?
Um,
It works. I like it.
Jerry Jones has a couple Super Bowls though.
Ooh,
So he
But
can
they're
at
like
least
30 years ago. 30 years. Do they count? Do they count?
he has some rings. Does Daniel
They have
Levy have any Premier League trophies?
No, he does. He
They
has
can't
any
even-
trophy.
they
This
can't even
Audi Cup.
call that-
Audi.
They can't even say like it's a dusty trophy. Like Arsenal, you can say, "Oh, your trophy is dusty," but we got one. Spurs simply don't have one to look at. They can't even dust it off.
Seeing that uptime was great. Thank you for bringing it out, because that that North London derby's real. I want to go with Poch and players, right? So like we look at the Serie A connection on the team. You got some of the best players, Weston, Christian, Weah, Yunus Musa. Do you think? And I want to focus on Pulley. Do you think Pulisic's rise at Milan has like take him to that next level where like he is truly going to set himself apart as the best attacker in American like history? Like, do you think like this level is what he needed to get to?
I think that he is exactly in the place he should be. I think he is on track for it. And he has done already so much in a US shirt. I think I need to see more for him to call him like that guy. But he couldn't be on a better trajectory right now. The fact that he is easily one of the best players in Serie A. He is leading this Milan team. Like, he is their guy. He's producing regularly. He's been staying fit and healthy. I really, really like Pulisic. I think that he has even more to go, but this is exactly the track we want to see him on.
So if Pulisic is not that guy yet, who is that guy for you? The guy
It's
that's
still Dempsey for me.
Dempsey. Okay.
It's Deuce. It's Deuce, yeah.
Yeah. I want to go back to Arsenal a little bit. I always hear about Saka, about how he doesn't have the edge. He doesn't have an aura. And like we all talk about how he's a very likable person, and he's incredibly talented, great story, delicious chicken sauce. Like all too many superlatives you can say about him, but he does seem to be like a very nice guy. So how do you feel about the people who kind of worry if he doesn't have that edge or he lacks an aura?
Are you saying that man ain't got that dog in him? Is that what you're saying, Crump?
I said this has been too nice. We gotta throw some shade.
I'm giving him the opportunity to explain
Got you.
the misconceptions of others. I don't want
I mean, I think number one, any opposition player, you're gonna try and find something wrong with him. And like, he's so likable, it's like, all right, well, he's got to be too nice. That has to be it, right? But like, if I think as someone who watches him on a regular basis, especially this season, I think that his aggression has improved, has increased. I think that he's always stood up for himself, but now he's got more of that guy syndrome. It's more of like, he was never going to get pushed around, because if you watch him on a regular basis, he gets the dog shit kicked out of him. Like the limping meme, the limping gimmick is like, yeah, you would limp too if you took all those cracks every single match. But he is such a strong player. Like, he holds the ball up better than any winger I've seen in a really long time. His center of gravity is so low. But I think that being under Arteta, being in this environment this year especially, I see more than even last year, the year before. I see more of that leader, that desire to not just win, but to fight. and to stake out his turf. So I could see the criticism in the past. Yeah, I think maybe he might have been a little bit soft. And I think when you smile that much and when you're that soft spoken and nice, that will always be the knock. And probably it was a bit of a knock, but I think this year he's taken a step to he's not a star boy anymore. Like he is the man. He has become a real actual man, I think.
I think that captain's armband, right? Like Odegaard going out, him wearing the band, like you could see that
Yeah.
he wanted that. Like that's something like, hey, like I love this club. I'm from the academy. It's like a privilege and it's a responsibility.
Mhm.
And I think like again, I always root for black players, right? Like, do I want him to score against City? Of course not. Like, please don't score. Please don't assist another fucking set
Real.
piece goal. But like watching him against other clubs and just seeing how he can go out there and like you said, like, and even for England, right? Like he is the guy. And I think like that's a beautiful thing to see because you don't see that too often where a player really comes up. It's like what Foden is for us. You really brought it up in the academy and you are now the talisman for the club. All credit to him. Again, hope he suffers on the pitch, not injuries, just hope his form dips around March.
That's real. That's fair. That's real. That's fair.
And now back to Arteta. There is the whole that they were sharing the red cards. Premier League team, Arsenal, they led that. We know Arteta is very fiery. There's often photos shown of him way outside of his little coaching zone. Do you feel that he is? Because I'm not trying to like lead you and everything. Because I honestly I love his heat and his energy. Because I mean we have Pep and he's a wild boy, and so like I'm it's not hate,
but he's more of a, in my opinion, just my opinion. I feel like Arteta is. You make a comment, Crunk, about City, and we should just embrace being the evil empire and what having people hate us, whatever. He is like Darth Vader to me. He is like embracing the villain role. And you guys are going to hate me, and that just is what it is. I don't care. You're going to hate my team. We don't care. I think he's embraced that. That's how I look at it, if I want to put words to what you were trying to say.
So,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on Arteta and his passion?
Yeah, I mean, I think every single successful manager has it. I think we talk about the different versions of it: the Klopp passion, the Pep passion, the Mourinho passion, even Ancelotti in his calm. Like he does show his moments where you see the emotion. But yeah, every single one of these guys is different, and I love Arteta's passion. I love the way that he motivates his team. I love the way he's animate on the sideline. I also think he feels like he's got a big chip on his shoulder, and rightfully so. He's fighting against years of losses, years of not having success, a ton of expectation, and I think that he feels the pressure in a good way, and like he uses that pressure because he wants everything to be right. He wants he wants his players to do their job. He wants the referees to do their job. He wants everything. He's a perfectionist. Like he is in that like he is very much of if things aren't right, he gets pissed off. And there are a lot of managers care about the details, but I think Pep, Arteta, some of these guys care so much about it that even if it's not their own team, that stuff pisses him off, and you can see him get turned up. But I think in the past, even last couple of years, I think it might have gotten to at times it seemed like he was a little bit out of control. But I think that he's both got the team that he wants and he's figured himself out. So they've been able to strike the balance of like firing them up and keeping the emotions high. So I got no issues with it in the slightest.
Do you think that like I feel like a lot of non-British managers get a lot of slack for not conducting themselves properly in the technical box. I also think that Pep probably gets a lot of leeway in the way that he conducts himself just simply because he's won. Like, do you feel like, because I truly do believe that if Arsenal were to win this year, like this talking point goes away. Like we don't ever talk about this ever again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that literally all this stuff stops to be an issue when a trophy comes into the fore. When this manager has won X, a lot of the things get to slide. A lot of them. Or like it's the whole like that whole spat earlier in the season. I feel like there was a lot of online banter between Liverpool fans and Arsenal supporters last year, where they're like, Arteta's doing the clock thing. Like, he's celebrating. That's not a clock thing. Every manager celebrates. Every manager gets pumped up. Like it becomes their thing when they've won, but a lot of things get swept under the rug when you have won. So and also it's tribalism. Like one day, if Pep Guardiola retired and Arteta signed for City the next day, you would love his passion. You would love the Darth Vader. You would love him running around. You would love everything that you nitpicked about, as long as he was winning. As long as he was winning, you can get away with a lot of stuff when you're winning and when it's your guy. It shifts immediately when it becomes not your guy anymore.
Yeah. No, okay. I've seen a lot of people specifically say after the Man City Arsenal match that they can never see Arteta as a Man City manager now. After that, there were a lot of people positioning.
I'll say that. I said that. I mean, just being honest, I don't. I hear you and I understand the fact that when it's on your team, then you feel a little different about it. But I feel like for me, with him having been at City for a little bit, I feel it's a little disrespectful the way he kind of injects himself into the play. You know, the game is going on, he's grabbing the ball, trying to slow the play down. Don't do that. That's the part that frustrates me.
You could probably pull like 35 clips of Pep doing the same thing if you just back like,
and you know what, you're probably right. And I'm not going to sit here and say you're not right. I'm just telling you that for me, I would have a hard time if he became a City manager at any point in the future. That just would.
There's also a realm of possibilities.
I'm still going to support City, so it don't matter. But
just so you know, because these things are all cyclical. It's all incestuous. He's coached at City.
He never
no one stays at no one stays at one club forever.
For sure.
There's a world where he could be your manager.
Like I said, if he became City manager, it's not going to stop my fandom because I'm about City. It don't matter who's in the coaching box, who's on the pitch. It's about City, right? So I'm gonna support him, but I'm not going. I would. There's a lot of people I would rather have first. That's just we can go get Vinny company, bring him in. I don't care what his record is. Bring that man in before we go get him. But it is what it is.
Yes. Before we get you out of here, I would like to ask you this final question because, it's the reason I wanted to start Shades of Blue is I went to Houston, Texas 4 or 5 years ago for the Man City US tour, and I met some of the other Man City content creators, and there really wasn't anybody who looked like me, and I gave it a beat. And that's when I reached out. I connected with my show bros. We've been at it for 3 years now. And it's been an experience connecting with all of a chunk of them are here in the comments. All the people who I've been able to connect with in building Shades of Blue. But where you are, the more you grow, I'm sure, you see less and less of people who look like you. So what is it like being a Black man in a predominantly white space covering football?
I think one of the cool things is that from where I started, I see infinitely more Black faces. I work with a lot of Black folks, both behind the camera, in front of the camera now. I see podcasts like this, where when I was starting this, there was nothing like that. So I see more and more Black creators everywhere. it's been really, really cool for me recently in the last couple years to go to events and see like younger Black dudes who were in the podcast space. Um, Shout out to Five Aside Pod.
Mhm.
Dudes like that who are probably a decade or so younger than me, but who are now creating content in a way that speaks to us. I see those popping up more and more all over the place. So I think as many of us who work in white dominated spaces, a lot of times like it just becomes normal. It's just like, okay, it just is what it is. Um, and for me, it has always been important to create space for people like us to speak the way that I speak to us about the game. To For me, one of the coolest compliments I got was when I was at the EA event, the FIFA launch, EAFC launch, and a dude came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, I just want to say I appreciate the way that you speak about the game." He was like, "I just got into soccer a few years ago, but I feel like you speak about it in a high level where people who have watched the game for years can appreciate it, but also you make it accessible for us." That's the biggest thing for me is I want to make it accessible for us. I want to make it a space for us. I want to, if I'm speaking to you about this game, I don't care if you've never watched the sport before. I want you to at least rock with me and get where I'm going. I don't want to leave you behind while still being able to cater to the highest denominator. So that's the kind of the line, the art I'm trying to create is to speak to everyone. Um, but that's a long answer to say it's been a long journey, but it's really, really dope because every single day I come in now and I see Black folks. So it's cool to be where I am at this point. And a big thing is CBS makes a pretty big commitment towards diversity. So it's been dope to see that and be part of that as well. The shoe and sweater collections are growing. I recently had to like literally reset my entire shoe closet because I just found out I've been like 2 years ago that I've been wearing the wrong size shoe for forever. I like have been wearing a size too small for literally like my entire life because I always grew up wearing tight soccer shoes, and then I had like sample size shoes because I worked for soccer.com. My wife was sponsored by Nike, all kinds of stuff. Long story short, I just figured out that I wear 10 and a half and not a 9.5. And so I just basically finished rebuilding my closet after like 2 years. I literally just saw a text from him because he just got a box just showed up at his door with like 15 pairs of shoes that I just cleared out. And he was like, "Oh, bro." But the sneaker collection is growing. Sweaters growing. Another one just showed up on my door. So yeah, the youth pastor drip is about to go crazy this fall.
And then,
So
one last non-biased question: how do you feel about FC Cologne?
I got no issues with FC Cologne at all. I like the logo. Cologne is a city. Have I been to Cologne? I've not been to Cologne. I've been to Frankfurt. Yeah, I went to Cologne.
Chill.
The goats. The goat, right?
go team. Go team.
Shout out.
Big ups to Jake.
Yes. Well, all right. Truly appreciate you for giving us your time and attention, for coming on. Please plug yourself, let people know where they can find you and the things that you're up to.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Twitter at Oweste, on IG at AYYY_West. Been rocking with Attacking Third a lot recently. Shout out to Courtney Stiff in the comments. Match day for CBS and working on some very, very, very cool things to come. What is it? In the next few months. What is it when you like yell that you're staying low and building? Yeah, I'm staying low and building.
Can't wait to see what comes out, man. I'm sure it's gonna be dope. Thank you so much, bro. Like, this is amazing. He told us he got it, and I was like, bro, you tell us the time. I don't care. I'll be here.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah. I
pull
was
up.
like,
So this is
we will make this happen.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me, man. For real. I'll have to
It's our
come back
pleasure.
for sure.
Yes, we love
Absolutely.
that. Well,
Yeah.
Shady Gang, we will be back Thursday night for our lit stream when we bring on 3 most dope guests on, and we just think late night show meets football. and it's a good time. Bring your snacks, bring your drinks, and then all we have is a kickoff show for our City Women on Sunday when they play Liverpool, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. We will
That
be
match is at Anfield.
Oh, it's at Anfield too? Okay, let's go. So we're gonna have to do it up. Let's go. Might have to do some mimosa actions, maybe make a Bloody Mary or something. Let's see what I'm gonna drum up. But yeah, come through, join us. We'll have all of the links and all those things on our sites. Follow us on any of them at Shades of Blue and W. Tom Bomb, Tarek, Sharpie. Please let people know where they can find you.
Man, it ain't about me, but ask Sharpie Charlie on Twitter.
Yeah,
whatever.
same old. At Tarek Peterson.
CPKC Stadium. That's where you can find me. How about that?
Hey,
Big J journalist Tom.
Yeah, I would say Big J.
Oh, you know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.
This ain't Arsenal's year, baby.